Open up your curtain and see the world spinning round. And everything you think you believe and all the voices taught you. It's hard to know where to plant your roots and grow. So lay down your worries tonight. Open up your window and see the love that's flowing round.
Hey guys! Welcome back! Welcome to the second Sunday panel of Emerald City Comic Con 2014! Woo! Are you guys having a good time? Yeah? All right, I see everybody is just as excited for my next guest as I am. You're already lined up at the mics. I really don't know many actors that can disappear into a role as completely as him. He's been in Hellboy. He's a beast. You know him from Sons of Anarchy and Pacific Rim. Please welcome Mr. Ron Perlman! Woo! Nice. Welcome. Oh. That's the best welcome I've had all weekend. Have a seat, Ron. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah? Have you been to Seattle before, or is this your
I've
first
only
time?
just passed through Seattle. I'm dying to do a movie here where I can spend 2-3 months, and it seems like one of the coolest towns in America. So
I definitely agree. I love Seattle.
somebody would just turn off that rain machine, would be fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are, honestly, you're one of my favorite actors, so I'm really excited to have you up here.
Does she say that to every person that comes out?
No, back me up on this.
Don't bullshit me now.
You,
By the way, are there any children in the room? Because the language is going to fly here, so you may want to remove your young ones. It's going to get fucked up right now.
and that's just the reality, so, deal with it. You're known for so many different types of characters. Many of your characters have used extensive prosthetic makeup, many not. As an actor, when you first approach a character, what's your process like? And does that, if you know you will be under prosthetics, does that help you sort of free yourself up to play the character? Or do you notice any real distinction?
Now that I've matured into my
and I can attest to that.
the autumn. Thank you. From one hug, huh?
Exactly. It doesn't take much, Ron.
By the way, what's your sign? Anyway, when I realize now, looking back, because I'm actually looking back a lot, because I realize I'm probably going to die pretty soon. But anyway, I'm sorry, man. I'm on the wrong side of the hill. I realized that when I was younger, and I was not really comfortable in my own skin, I welcomed the opportunity to put a mask between me and the camera, or me and the audience, because it kind of made me disappear or hide from whatever it was out there that I was intimidated by, and then allowed me to be freer to play these characters, many of which were rather expansive. As I got older, I got more and more comfortable with who I was, and so it became less essential. But the original question you asked is is there a difference? There's never a difference in your approach to how to play a character. Your job is you always have to find the heart and soul of who you're playing. You have to find the who of who you're playing. And then the rest of it is what condition is he in at any given moment in the playing of him. And that's going to be the same whether he's a caveman from 80,000 years ago or a hunchback in the Catholic Church who, you know, is mentally challenged. I mean, you know, you're constantly and then the rest of the stuff that they put on you, even if there's no makeup, there's always a costume or there's always something that defines the character and makes him different from who you are, even though you're using your own self. I'm going to give a symposium later on. I have a couple of business cards I'd like to pass out because...
No, that's a good answer. I mean, because as the actor, you're the vessel, and so, you know,
I'm the vessel with the pestle.
That's right.
in the brew that is true.
Nice, nice. All right, let's open it up to the audience. Let's come over here for our first question.
Hi, so you have an amazing voice. So my question is, did you just hit puberty and bam, that was your voice? Or did it develop over the years?
I'd like to thank Johnny Walker Black and Hoya de Monterrey Maduro for some of the best cigars and scotch that made my voice what it is today.
Great question and great answer. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, thanks for coming. Besides you, one of my favorite people is Roy DeTrees.
Do you have a toothache?
Besides you, one of my favorite people is Roy DeTrees, and I heard that you guys were still friends, and I was wondering if you had any fun stories of the two of you.
Nothing but fun stories. Of course, I can't tell them here, but Roy is in a very, very small, select group of people that I characterize as too good to be true. I mean, he's so good as a human being. He's a great actor and everything, but that to me is always secondary. He's just too good to be true. When you're around him, he makes you look like shit. Because there's no way you could ever measure up to the generosity and just the pureness of purely kind individual that he is. So it was very easy for me to adopt him as my dad, and I still call him Pop. And he's in London right now, but when he's in LA, we go out to lunch once a week, and we look after each other. He's a beautiful, beautiful dude.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my question is about the Vincent character from Beauty and the Beast. You made the recording of all the poetry, and I was wondering if the rumors were true that you actually put the fangs in to do the recordings, and also, yes?
No.
Also, do you happen to remember any of those poems, and would you possibly recite one for us?
She walks in beauty like the night. I can only remember the first line of any of them. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone. That's all I know. It was a long time ago, man. It was the late '80s. You know how much drugs and shit have. You know how many brain cells have just gone completely south since then?
Thank you for at least trying to remember.
Yeah,
But it was, thank you very much. I will say, Ron Koslow, who was born to be a writer and who kind of lives in this amazing world of literature, was the one who compiled the poems that we did on the album. And you know, it was Wordsworth, it was Shakespeare, it was Rilke, it was E.E. Cummings, it was Robert Frost. It was glorious collection of work. And I mean, you know, that's the actor's dream, is to immerse yourself in beauty. And so that was an opportunity to do that.
It was beautiful. I still fall asleep to them at night.
Oh, that's nice.
Well,
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
You played such a wide range of roles over the years and used a wider range of vocabulary. And I wonder if there's anything you
Nothing
aren't.
like what's going to happen here tonight, motherfucker.
Oh, great. Well, because my
You
question
did take the kids out, didn't you?
is there anything you aren't comfortable with saying on camera?
There's nothing I ain't comfortable with saying on camera. I'm really uncomfortable saying badly written lines. I really, you know.
That's good.
And you know, and I try to avoid that. I try to avoid, you know, just shitty writing. But if the writing is smart and not gratuitous, you know, if a writer earns the right to say the most outlandish things because it's supported by a world that he's created that is truly earned, there's nothing I won't say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kind of building on his question on Sons of Anarchy, how much collaboration, I would say, do you have with the writers?
On that show, none.
None. Yeah. Have there been projects in the past where you have been able to work in tandem?
Almost every other one.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right, let's go over here.
Don't get me started.
Okay.
Yeah, howdy. So you've been in so many different roles, you've shot with so many different actors, different actresses. I'm just kind of wondering, who would you say is your favorite, I guess, actor or favorite cast to work with, and maybe least favorite? I don't know if I can ask that or if you can answer that, but...
Well, that's always a hard one for, you know. But any memorable cast or favorite experience with a cast member, maybe?
Oh my God! I mean, I've been so lucky. You know, I got to act opposite Sean Connery. You know, that was like I got to act opposite Marlon Brando. I mean, those two guys were pinch me moments because those two guys were real heroes, still are of mine, and just to be able to, I had a problem acting opposite Marlon in particular because I was so intimidated by this space that he created for himself, you know, by being the most important actor of his generation. By the time I met him, he was kind of older and closer to the end, but I just became obsessed with watching his process, and I forgot to be me. I forgot to do the job I was hired to do. It started to be that way with Sean, but Sean was so amazingly welcoming and generous and encouraging that he made me forget that he was Sean Connery. He just became an acting partner. It's a beautiful thing. The cast of Sons of Anarchy, before that show went off the rails, the first few seasons, that was one of the most pleasurable casts I've ever been around. I've been really lucky. I mean, you know, Dougie Jones and Selma Blair and Jeff Tambor and the Hellboy movies and John Hurt. And Jesus, I mean, I could be here all night naming names.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, over here. Hi, sweetie.
What's your favorite thing about Hellboy?
Pizza.
It's a good answer.
I like the cigars too, actually. I just so love that character because when Guillermo decided, you know, Hellboy was his favorite comic book, and Guillermo is a serious comic book collector, so for him to have a favorite was a big thing. But the comic guy only spoke in like 2-word sentences, you know, oh crap. I mean, that's his biggest sentence. So when Guillermo had to turn him into a living, breathing, 3-dimensional character for the movie, he kind of used my sick, twisted personality as his model. So it actually sounded like and looked like I was playing me, you know, including the pizza and the kitten. Well, the kittens were from the comic book, but you know, the cigars and the slovenliness, you know, like stinky socks all over his bachelor pad, you know. There was nothing about, what I really liked the most about him was the fact that he, in a world that takes itself incredibly serious, in this world where they're fighting demons and everything, he's complete degenerate. I mean, he has absolutely, he has not one serious bone in his body. Like everything with him is a game. And if it's not a game, he turns it into a game. And pisses off a lot of people because, you know, they're supposed to be doing some pretty serious stuff. That's what I loved about Hellboy the most. And the pizza, of course.
Thank you, sweetie. So are we gonna see a Hellboy 3? Yeah?
I bet I have, you know, I say again, this is like the 200th time I've said this today, and every one of these appearances that I make, that's one of the questions for sure. And I've been really encouraging everybody who has any control over the franchise at this point that they really need to find a way to do Hellboy 3. Because I mean, logistically, it's very complicated, and there's a chance that because it's so complicated, there's so much money involved, there's so many pieces that need to fall into place, it's possible that it won't happen. But I feel as though that would be a great injustice because maybe we didn't have the most fans in the world, maybe we didn't have as many fans as the Avengers or Iron Man or any of those other bullshit titles. Right on, motherfucker. We had fans who really were devoted to us and really invested in the character and in the movies, and they deserve to see this thing resolved. The third movie would be the resolve. The whole thing was set up for a third movie, so that's the conversation I've been having with everyone. I'm not going to name names. Guillermo.
Well, everybody use your social media voice and have that conversation also. Yes.
Longtime fan. I've been wondering this for many years now. A little while back, you did a film called The City of Lost Children, which is one of my favorite movies, but how did you land that role? I mean, what came about to doing a French art house film out of what you had been doing previous to that?
Well, the story goes they were trying to find a non-French, even non-European actor, because they wanted the character to be like a fish out of water, like somebody who was completely out of place in a cynical society that was deteriorating, that was becoming very cynical, and they wanted this kind of innocent sort of foreigner. And it just so happened that after a long, exhaustive search, there was this movie called Kronos playing at a midnight festival in Paris, long after it had come and gone. And Marc Caro of Jeunet and Caro went to see it and then got it screened for Jeunet, and they decided from watching that, which is my first ever foray into the world of Guillermo del Toro, so there was this connection with these geniuses that were from different parts of the world that were, whether they knew it or not, were, like 6 degrees of Ron Perlman,
Awesome.
Thank you. How did your partnership with Guillermo start?
It started on Kronos, which was his first ever movie. He sent me a letter and a script, and because Guillermo was obsessed with learning prosthetic makeup, and he studied with Dick Smith and Rick Baker, they were constantly showing him the works of these state-of-the-art makeup characters and movies, and because I had done so much up to that point, Guillermo was really familiar with my work, so he kind of wanted me in his first movie more like as a good luck charm than anything else, I think, like an amulet, And I fell in love with the script. I fell in love with him when I met him, and you know, it was irresistible. So I went and did Kronos with him, and 5 more since. I mean, like they say at the end of Casablanca, it was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
It definitely was. I love that you guys keep working together. Yes.
I'd like to thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
What was it like to play the role of Hellboy?
It was great.
Thanks.
You mentioned that
Yeah.
Guillermo, that was his favorite character. Were you familiar with Hellboy before?
Guillermo introduced me to Hellboy. I'm not a comic book guy. And we were having dinner one night, and he said, after dinner, I have a little, someplace I want to take you. So we ate, and he hurried me up, and we went to this comic book store. And he walked up to this statue of Hellboy that was like this tall, which was next to all of the graphic novels that Mignola had written up to that point, which I think was only 3 of them. It was pretty early on. It was in the mid-'90s, early '90s. And he said, "Ron, Hellboy, Hellboy, Ron." And that's how I met Hellboy. And I said, that was interesting. Why the fuck did you bring me here? And it took him 7 years to explain to me why, because that's how long it took him to convince a studio to hire, you know, a kind of obscure character actor to be the lead in a big comic book franchise movie, which is an act that I believe has never taken place in the history of show business, and an act that only could have been pulled off by somebody of the integrity and single-mindedness of purpose of a Guillermo del Toro, who I can thank for the rest of my life and still never thank him enough.
Yeah. Well, he made the right call. Yes, let's go over here.
I have a 2-part question. How far in advance did you know that your character Clay Morrow was going to get killed off the show, and how'd you feel when you found out?
Kurt called me in April when we start shooting in May. He usually called the actors in a few weeks before the beginning of principal photography to kind of have a conversation about one thing or another. You have anything you want to see happen, blah, blah, blah. And he told me at that meeting that, that Clay was going to meet his end at the end of season 6.
And the part about how you felt when he told you?
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. You know, it was a surprise. It was a shock. It ran counter to things I had been told all along, and so it was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Well, I look forward to seeing a Hellboy 3.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right.
Hi, I was wondering if you're hungry, because I went to a hamburger place and they have a Hellboy burger, so I bought you one.
A Hellboy burger.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know if you want it, so.
That's, you know what, we'll take it backstage.
You know what I want? I want whoever is really hungry and wants a Hellboy burger, raise their hand.
Hellboy burger?
Oh.
Because I just ate lunch and it would be wasted. So you pick who you should give it to. That's
There you
on
go.
him, bro. Thank him. Very cool.
Nice. What's on the Hellboy burger? Cheetos? I love it. All right. Yeah, tell us how if you take a bite, tell
There's
us how that is.
pizza on it, of course,
Yeah.
and some cigar butts.
I think you gotta crack that thing open there. We want to know. Inquiring minds. Okay, let's go over here.
Well, I hope my question's better than Cheetos. I've enjoyed.
Let's see.
A lot of pressure now. I've enjoyed all the roles that I've seen you in, and it's always a pleasure to see you pop up in a movie where I'm not expecting. And I love City of Lost Children. So I'm not going to ask a question about it. Your relationship with Charlie Hunnam, it seems from Sons of Anarchy, and then you were in. It's like he's not allowed to make a movie without you in it. It seems. So what's it like acting with him? And then in 3, 2, 1, Frankie Go Boom. In your nude scene, was that a body double?
It depends. Did you like his ass or didn't you?
That's a good point.
Because if you liked his ass, that was definitely me. If you liked his ass, let me put it like this. You're going to watch this new pilot I'm doing right now called Hand of God, which opens with me naked. So,
Nice.
I will make a point with that.
did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, it was actually about.
Oh, what is it like working with Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie's like, I feel like he's my kid brother. I really, really love the guy. He reminds me very much, aside from the fact that he's drop dead gorgeous, which I never was, and that he doesn't have a bad fucking angle on his whole face, and he's got a chiseled body, which I never had, never will. But he reminds me in a lot of other ways of me when I was his age, because we're 30 years apart. And he's got great scruples. He's got great integrity, and he's a lot of fun to be around. And we had some really cool times on. He's the reason why I was in Frankie Go Boom, and maybe I had a little something to do with why he's in Pacific Rim. So there's a little connection. There's more than a little connection. We spent 6 years together playing father and son. Fucking love him, man.
Excellent.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On the Pacific Rim note, one of my favorite movies, at Stevie on Twitter says, have you heard anything about a Pacific Rim sequel, and did you get to keep the shoes?
I tried to keep the shoes. I'll answer the second question first, but I was stopped by security guards as I was making my way to my car. That's number two. Number one, the rumor has it that Guillermo is writing the script for Pacific Rim 2, which he would not be doing unless he was being asked to by Legendary and I guess Warner Brothers. So that's a good sign. That doesn't mean that the movie's going to get made, but they wouldn't ask him to write the script unless they were pretty serious.
I'm happy to hear that. That was one of my favorite movies of this last year.
Me too. I like
It was
that movie
awesome.
a lot.
If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. All right, yes.
Hello, hi, Mr. Perlman. My name is Sarah. I've been trying to articulate this question, but basically it just boils down to I wanted to tell you that you look like a magnificent lion. And that's really I couldn't think of a way to ask a question so yes, there you are. You can take that and digest that as you will. The question I had was actually, how do you think Hannibal finds his shoe? Does he track it down? Are we gonna see that in the next movie? Because that was a pretty awesome little tidbit at the end. And what's it like to work with some of those actors? For example, I love Charlie Day. I think he's adorable. And it's such a cool juxtaposition of your strong and lioness, and then his little I don't
Everything relates back to animals with you, doesn't it? Yes.
We're all animals when it comes right down to it. So.
Some of us more than others, obviously.
Yeah.
I have no idea what your question was. but you articulated it for sure.
Thank you. It's where's the shoe? Where'd it go? How are you going to get it? And where do you think you're going to go with a Charlie and you in the next movie? Do you think that's going to be something they're going to explore? Because that was pretty cool.
The Hannibal was not planned on being in the next movie. That thing that happened at the end, in the end credits, where I cut my way out of the kaiju, that was shot way after the fact, and it was like a great compliment because the studio said, "We got to keep our options open with this."
That's amazing.
So there was never a plan for Hannibal to be in anything but the first installment. So I have no idea how he in what form we meet him. If there is indeed a continuation.
Thank you. Great question. Thank you. All right. Yes.
So I had a quick question about the voiceovers you've done for some of the Fallout games. After you're done doing the voiceovers, for some of the originals, did you have any idea at that time that it would become such a huge thing in the future and kind of resurface?
No idea. I'm not a gamer. So I don't know the world really well. I'm not immersed in the world really well. I had no idea that Fallout was gonna, it seemed, frankly, like the first one I did, seemed like it was, you know, gonna come and go. It seemed like it was maybe a little cheesy or whatever. And somehow it just resonated to the point where by the time we did, how many are there, 4 now?
Yes, I think so.
3 or 4? By the time we did the 4th one, people were calling me up and going, I mean, you have no idea how huge this is. And because I'm not a gamer, I really didn't, but yeah. It was kind of cool to, it's always cool to be a part of something that finds a big voice, you know, because it's rare. It doesn't happen very often. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. What project have you been involved with that you were surprised found that voice, where you initially maybe read the script or took the role and you were thinking, this is just going to be a one-off, or it's not really going to, you know, resonate, and then it became a fan favorite? Is there anything in particular?
Well, Beauty and the Beast for sure. I mean, I never thought we'd get past the pilot for Beauty and the Beast because, you know, at the time there was no cable television, so it was all network TV. And so everything was, you were either on a lawyer show or a doctor show or a private dick show, you know, or something like
Or a
that.
sitcom.
Or a show about teachers or whatever, you know. To have something, I mean, so network television at that time wasn't known for being particularly groundbreaking and completely original. And Beauty and the Beast was not only groundbreaking and original, but it was also very, the formula of it was very ethereal, you know, very kind of this love story, which was this, it was never consummated. It was just, it existed on some highly romantic, gothic level. I just knew we were never going to do more than a pilot. And when that show got picked up, that was the biggest surprise.
Yeah.
I never thought Sons would be as big as it turned out either. I mean, I thought that Sons was going to find a nice audience, but that turned out to be way bigger than any of us planned on.
Definitely. Yes.
Hi, taking you back to the City of Lost Children, because I'm a huge Jeunet fan. I'm just curious what your experience was like, if maybe you had some funny stories or an interesting story regarding filming in a foreign language. I imagine there were some interesting moments with possible language barriers or interactions.
Constantly. I mean, you know, I was the only one on that movie that didn't speak French. And Jeunet and Caro, the 2 directors, were the only ones on that movie that didn't speak English.
Interesting.
So everyone else spoke a little English. I mean, everybody, the crew, the other actors, Jeunet, like, he had this fuck America, you know. I will not speak your language. You know, and he does now. He's fluent in it now. But at that time, he didn't speak it, and he wasn't curious to speak it. So every single thing that happened between me and the directors of the film happened through an interpreter. And there was an awful lot of misunderstanding. And there was an awful lot of me knowing exactly what they were asking of me and going,
oh.
Could you give me that again? You know, like, fuck you. Learn fucking English, all right?
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much. Yes. Did you ever learn any French, by the way?
I apologize to everybody who I'm insulting tonight.
Did you pick up any French after that?
We
We
shot the movie in Paris for 6 months, so by the time I left Paris, I was conversational. I mean, I wasn't conversational grammatically correctly.
Right.
But I could get home in a taxi. I could order food in a restaurant. I could get in a fight with some dude who, you know,
right,
who treated me like a piece of shit American, which they love to do in Paris. You know, and I knew that if I had gone to like a language school, like Berlitz or something like that, for a month, I would completely be, I was positioned to be fluent. which I didn't do, and I've forgotten it all since then. So.
Right, that happens. Yes.
Hi. So I actually got to take a picture with you earlier, and I just got to say, you smell so fucking good. What the hell?
Was that you? Was that you that said that?
Probably. I'm not shy.
Jesus Christ.
But,
did your voice go down or something?
Maybe a smidge.
I thought that was a chick that said that to me.
So actually my question is relating to your relationship with Guillermo, because I'm personally very drawn to director-actor relationships. I mean, with like the Coen brothers, you have like John Turturro and Steve Buscemi and John Goodman that are all very close, and same with a lot of directors really just enjoy working with specific actors, Scorsese and DiCaprio. And so with your specific relationship with Guillermo, who's notoriously like the sweetest guy in the world, like what is specific aspects of your personality and his personality kind of drew you two together to create such beautiful imagery in film?
I have no idea what he sees in me, so I you know, you'd have to ask him. But I know what I know. I could give you a gazillion reasons why, you know, I'm obsessed with being his friend, and that's, I mean, it starts out with his artistry, but more importantly, there's this beautiful, that was the very first trip I ever took to Mexico. And so I was completely fell in love with all aspects of being turned on to a culture of people who have no seriousness about themselves. No seriousness about them. Just the opposite of Americans who take themselves so fucking seriously. People get bent out of shape in this country if you say the wrong thing, or, you know, I mean, you completely misinterpret shit all the time because it's just so fucking wrapped up in dogma. And this is a country where the poverty is so unbelievably, like 99% of the people have nothing. But they have joy, and they have a beautiful glint in their eye and stuff like this, and so I fell in love with the culture, and Guillermo is kind of epitomizes that. I mean, his intellect and the way he's been obsessed with educating himself, the amount that he's read over the years, the amount that he's facile with on a literary basis and on a historical basis, is in a class by itself. But it's wrapped up in this guy who's completely this jolly dude who you would never know was a genius because he's so unpretentious and so fun to be around. I mean, that's the Mexican persona that you know that he brings with himself. And I hate to generalize, but it's the only way I know how to describe it. And then there's this eye, you know, this unbelievable. I mean, I'm a film geek, you know. My movies are my thing, man. So when somebody is doing what he was born to do, like Guillermo is, you know, this filmmaker that also is in a class by himself. Even if he wasn't my friend, I'd be a Guillermo del Toro freak. So the fact that he is, and the fact that I've gotten to know that he's also a great friend and great brother, and I adore the husband he is to his wife. We're very close, and I adore the father he is to his children. Beautiful dude, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great question. Hi.
Hey, Ron. Thanks for coming out. I was just wondering if you've got any stories from Sons of Anarchy as far as like gags or practical jokes that anybody pulls on set. And you've died in so many different roles. You do it great. And as much as I hated to see you go, I loved watching Clay Morrow finally get his.
Well, thanks, pal. I always thought Clay was a good guy. I guess that's just me.
So do you have did you guys do like gags or practical jokes or anything like that on set?
I mean, we did gags and practical jokes that fucking night when I was lying there in my own blood. Guys were coming by, pulling their zippers down, you know, like. I couldn't move, you know. I mean, you know, there's this whole continuity thing, like, you know, I have to stay right in that spot where I went down and I had all this blood pumping out of my jugular vein. And the guys were just relentless, man.
I know how that is.
You'd think it was my last night on the friggin' show after 6 years. You'd think they'd have a little bit of goddamn respect. How can you pee on a dead man? It's not right.
It's not right.
I had a death scene like that in a student film, so I know what it's like to lay there covered in blood.
Yeah, no, the blood wasn't the part that pissed me off.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes.
Hi. In all the Fallout games that you've worked on, which one is your favorite in terms of the opening and closing monologues? And what is it like to work in a video game recording studio?
The Fallout games, I mean, you know, the role I play in the Fallout games is very similar. You know, I'm the narrator and I have this kind of overview, so I can't tell the difference from one to the other. And working in on any voiceover job is you're in a booth, you know, with a microphone, and you're being fed directions, and you know, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of cool because, you know, you don't have to be wearing pants or anything, which is, you know,
with the games,
more and more my favorite way to work is pantsless.
With the games, did you record? Were you isolated when you were recording them, especially
Yeah.
because there's
I mean,
a
you know,
narrative?
yeah, most of the time you're isolated. You know, when I did Tangled, for instance, I was the only one there. I mean, you know, the directors would read the lines of the other characters to sort of get me into it, but most of the time when you're recording voiceover stuff, you're recording on your own. A lot of the Saturday morning cartoons, like Teen Titans and stuff, you have the whole cast with you and you're recording the whole script. Excuse me.
That's all right.
Sorry, can we get a medic? I don't remember the question.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we have time for a couple more questions, so let's go over here.
Hello.
Hey.
So, I would have to say my favorite movie of yours would have to be In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale, which is loosely based, very loosely based, on the game Dungeon Siege. How much were you and the rest of the cast playing Dungeon Siege during filming, and what are your thoughts on adapting things like games and comic books into movies in general? Is this a bad question?
This is the worst question I've ever been asked.
Oh, no.
Let me help.
Sorry.
The question's not so bad. My answer would be horrible, so I'm not going to go there. Okay.
Go for the second one.
I should probably not bite the hand that feeds me.
How about this? When you, such as Hellboy or other things that are taken from a different medium, like a comic or a game, do you study the comic and the game before you create your character for the film? Or do you just kind of say, okay, that's nice, that was created there, but I'm going to do my own interpretation?
Depends. I mean, Hellboy, I definitely needed to study Mignola's creation because what was paramount to Guillermo was to do an homage to what Mignola had already created, not to do an improvement, not to do an enhancement, but to capture the essence of it. So in order to do that, you have to go back to the source. But very often, Dungeon Siege, there were no characters. It's just a one-dimensional fucking thing. I mean, you know, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean was a fucking ride. I mean, you know, Jesus Christ. How many fucking movies are we gonna fucking, you know, Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? See what you started? See what you started?
You opened a can of
Not
worms
good,
over
man.
here.
I'm a guy who, you know, like, I got into this business so I could, you know, do things that were written by F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest fucking Hemingway and, you know.
And not adapting video games
and
into
Clifford
movies.
Odets, you know. So sorry, man. Sorry.
Well, thanks, I guess.
Hey.
Thank you. All right.
I'm
yes.
sorry, man. I'm sorry. Please don't go away mad. Well, I just lost a follower. Maybe a couple.
Yes.
Well, hopefully my question can help bring them back a little. I've loved everything you've done, although I usually see you under like 8 inches of makeup. I saw not terribly long ago you were dressing up as Hellboy for this little kid. What was it like to spend a day with someone who idolized your character like that? And do you have a lot of experience with fans just being totally gaga over a certain character you've played?
I mean, the story of the kid was just like so moving and so, you know, he's like 8 years old. He'd been through hundreds of hours of chemotherapy. And the way he got through it was watching Hellboy 1 and 2. That's what his parents said. So you realize you're more than just a guy who does movies at that point. You know, you're something else. It's very moving. It's very nice to do something for one reason, but it evolves and, you know, turns into something that's much more useful even. To see the look on the kid's face, you know, because he didn't know he was meeting Hellboy that day. So
Oh, he didn't?
See that look on his face was nice.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. This is going to be our last question over here.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
No pressure. You look
Hi, Mr.
great.
Perlman. Oh, thank you.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I remember you.
Yeah, I have the tiny hands. I was just...
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay. I was wondering, I know that Guillermo del Toro's books, The Strain, are going to be made into a TV series, and I was wondering if you were going to be involved with that, because it would be great to see you on TV again.
We haven't found anything yet. I mean, we're looking.
Okay.
But I am going to be on TV again because I'm just about to make a pilot for Amazon, which will probably air either in the summer or the fall, called Hand of God. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to be on The Strain, is because I went straight from Sons to this and a couple of movies in between. So I haven't really had time.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure The Strain is going to last for 4 or 5 years. And
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I'm so excited.
The books are
about
so
that.
great. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
The books are great. The guy's a genius.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have a question and we didn't get to you, don't forget, you can go out, you can talk to Ron. He's going to be out there signing autographs for the rest of the day, or at least the next few hours. And people can follow you on Twitter and do all that kind of good stuff too. So thank you so much. I've had a great hour. Thank you guys for great questions. One more time, Ron Perlman! Woo! And if you guys are staying for the next panel, group together, please. This is my PSA here. If you're staying for the Supernatural panel, group together so that make yourselves one so we can fill in whatever availability opens up. Thank you.
You know I've been watching above the clouds, and every so often I can catch your eye and see you smile back, 'cause we both now know in the end. So look up, I hope you've got a healthcare plan. And if you don't, I understand. But I got a question for ya. Does your hideout have a covered lot? And here's the hours I'm looking for. A part-time shift from noon to 4. But not on Tuesdays, cause that's when I dungeon master for my friends. And do I qualify for this? Well, let me tell you what you've missed. I fired lasers from a sub. One year I blew a whole bridge up. I spent a month up on the moon, raising rank beyond a goon. I could have gone much higher, except for the fact my boss was burned up. My man should knock me from his head. I'm a travel up in a flames, and it's a shame. I'm curious what you play, and I could start today. Have faith in what's inside, like cringe turning into battle cat. So here I am again, and with this leaky pen, I summarize my skill set, realize my path in life is sad. I always be a henchman. You ask me what it is I do. If I saw someone steal from you, I'd stab him in his back and take it for myself. Of course, you see, I know that's what you'd want to hear. So drop a line to send your fear. This doctor hatred in your 5, he'll eat your bill alive. So you better call now, for he has on the ground above the troglodytes in their cave. He's got a full plate. Is there 401k? And dental would be great. Joints disconnect like Voltron. I got bum knees, not lies to stand on. So here I am again. I love the feng shui in this den. I've worked for Psycho Possum. Compared to his, your place is awesome. Oh, I always be a henchman. Other guys have weeks, vacations. I work for dudes with lacerations on their faces. These people, they have aspirations. They want to rule a private nation. When the screws you have are loose, what else you gonna do? Appreciate your time today. There's not much more to say. Hope I'm what you're looking for, though. You'll find I'm handy just like Panthro. Oh, I always be a henchman. Oh, 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 oh. I always be a henchman. Oh, 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 this is what I do. Always be a henchman. And this is who I am. I always be a henchman.
A Marvel animated film. Featuring the Avengers. 2 legendary heroes go toe-to-toe against one unstoppable force. With the voice talents of Jennifer Carpenter as Black Widow and Brian Bloom as the Punisher. Marvel's Avengers Confidential, Black Widow and Punisher.
Taught me everything. A purple man obsessed with me, sold lost to the dark and it's now extinct. From any good it once possessed, pledged to the oath, now laid to rest. No time for doubt, no quick eject. Don't give in to fear like my father said. Ring capacity 50.9. Ring capacity 46.1. Ring capacity 38.5. And now I'm fighting for my life. Ring capacity 50.9. Ring capacity 46.1. Ring capacity 38.5. And now the trick's to stay alive. My hands burn, my skin stings. I'm running low on what I need. A glass of light, my last recourse. I find my way to the power source. And brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Ring capacity 46.1. Ring capacity 58.9. Ring capacity 64.5. And now I'm charged and burning bright. Ring capacity 75. Ring capacity 83.2. Ring capacity 99.9. And now I'm back into the fight. I'm standing over you, about 2 stores high, and you can see my knees. The skirt belly covers my thighs. You love my baby head and my piercing white eyes. So say if you want to, you can call me Uatu. Can I watch you? And you can watch me too. So say if you want to, you can call me Uatu. Can I watch you? And you can watch me too. So say if you want to, you can call me Uatu. Listen, I never instigate. Ego didn't raise no fool. You say I interfere. You think it's hot. Woo! Celestial bad boy from the blue side of the moon. You like the things I do, things I say I never do, but I still do. So call me Uatu. I cannot watch you, and you can watch me too.